Welcome to Sailing Perseverance. Meet Captain Gino and his family, Rachel, Aiden, and Eva. Gino has spent the last 30 years in the water as a master scuba dive instructor, teaching diving all over the world. While living in California, we were inspired to buy a boat and split our time living on the land and on the water. Our first year proved to be extremely challenging. We weathered the COVID pandemic, survived a hurricane on the boat, had to repair the damages from the hurricane, and are finally getting ready to sail south to warmer waters. Join us as we explore the world on Sailing Perseverance. Don't forget to like our video, leave a comment, subscribe to our channel, and become a patron. Previously on Sailing Perseverance, Captain Gino and Rachel had sailed Perseverance north to escape Charleston and avoid being hit by Hurricane Isaias. As they sailed north, though, the hurricane kept changing its path. They finally found an anchorage in a little area called Dutchman's Creek, right in between Oak Island and Southport, North Carolina. They set their anchor in the middle of the anchorage and decided to make their stand against the hurricane.
We're not anchored anywhere, we're not tied to anything, we're running, the motors are running. If I have to, I'll put on my gorilla suit and get out here and I'll start driving, you know what I mean? So I think we're in the best fighting position we can be in.
I agree. Now, trying to listen to me, understand me a little bit now.
Look at that. We're so good. I can't see in front of us anymore, but I can see we're so good. Go there, look at that, where it's all whited out almost.
Yeah, you can't even see back there, back past the trees.
Watch this, you gotta watch it.
Hurricane Isaias ended up making landfall at Oak Island, North Carolina, less than 1 mile away from our anchorage. There also ended up being numerous microbursts, or tornadoes, within the storm, adding to the destruction and chaos. We made it to the morning after the hurricane, just to share with you guys a little bit of the craziness that went on last night. About 10:30, our anchor came loose, and the wind, it was a Category 1 hurricane at that point, so the wind was 85 miles an hour plus. It blew us back up into the canal where we were at, and we literally spent about 2.5 or 3 hours cruising up, couple football fields lengths, turning the boat around, coming back down, turning the boat around, coming back down, dodging the trees, dodging the tree line, dodging a sailboat that was out in the middle, unmarked, unlit, in the middle of the channel. So it was a little bit interesting. And then we ended up halfway aground. We're waiting for Sea Tow to come and tow us off at high tide.
Hey, did you see that catamaran back there? Did you see that catamaran up on the side over there?
So here is where we came to rest last night. This was all flooded with at least 6 or 8 feet of water last night. We had originally set the anchor way up there where you can barely see those two pieces of equipment. And the anchor came loose when the hurricane hit landfall, made landfall. It was a Category 1 hurricane, so whew, 85-mile-an-hour winds. And Gino, being the masterful captain that he is, was able, he'd left the motors running, so we were able to sort of regain control of the boat. And for the next 2.5 to 3 hours, we just sailed, we motored up and down this little tiny stretch. And you can see over here, there's a sailboat right out in the middle of the channel. No lights on, nobody on there, maybe abandoned. And we had to dodge that. Gino making sure that we didn't go into any of the trees. This whole area was flooded with water. And we literally came down in here, turned around, missed the sailboat. We would motor back up maybe a couple of football fields before the wind pushed us around and we couldn't get any further, and then we come back down here again. And we did that over and over for probably about 3 hours before we did run aground on one side. But thankfully, sea tow is on their way. They're using the high tide to pull us off. You can see this side is in the water, the other side is on the mud. But sea tow is on their way to help us get unstuck.
We called Sea Tow Ocean Isle as soon as the sun rose, desperate for help in getting Perseverance unstuck.
Really?
Fuel docks are all tore up.
We almost went to that right there. That last.
That fuel dock, we got right here.
Yep.
Both fuel docks of both marinas, Southport and South Harbor.
Thank God. We were supposed to be in Southport, and I said,
No, Southport is like, Southport's worse than South Harbor. They're all pushed up against the seawall. The docks are gone.
yeah. See that? I'm glad we didn't stop there, honey.
Captain Kendrick was the first to arrive and tried to get us free with just one towboat. Unfortunately, Perseverance didn't want to budge, so we had to come up with another plan. We waited until dark, until the next high tide, and this time Captain Clay joined Captain Kendrick, putting 2 towboats to the task. Captain Clay used the high tide to our advantage, driving back and forth to push water up under the starboard side of the boat. This helped loosen the hull from the mud, pushed water up underneath the hull, and with both towboats pulling was enough to rescue Perseverance.
Yo, yeah! Yeah! Yo! Woo!
Captains Clay and Kendrick helped make sure we had no holes in the hull, that our motors were running, and that we were anchored safely back in the channel before they left. We were able to rest easy that night, but our run-in with Hurricane Isaias wasn't over. A close friend of ours, Mitch, had anchored near Camp Lejeune to ride out the hurricane, but didn't have our same luck. His boat, Lunatique, lost her anchor and ended up on the rocks in Mile Hammock Bay. After Perseverance was free, it became a race to cover the 40 nautical miles between us and Mitch so that we could rescue Mitch and try to repair his boat. Next time on Sailing Perseverance, Captain Gino and Rachel raced to save their friend Mitch and battled to repair and save his boat. We want to give a huge thank you and a shout out to our first patrons, William C. and Brad B. Your support makes our journey possible. If you would like to become a patron, just click the link in the video description, choose your level of support, and fill out the patron form. It only takes a minute, but your time and support will help keep our journey going.